Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Wide Open Wednesday, where I answer questions that you submit on my social media accounts. I did something really wild and crazy this week, and I opened up my Snapchat for a couple hours and got some really great input and questions there also, so thanks so much, Snap fam. Be sure that if I don't answer your question this week, just submit it again next week by commenting on my Instagram posts. Okay, our first question actually comes from an Insta lover from last week. But I love the question so much, and she submitted it after I made my video. I really wanted to answer it today. It's One Life Mine, and she asks, would love to know if you have down, flat, or blah days. If so, what key things do you do, and what works for you to bring yourself back out of the down, flat, blah days? So I just thought this was such a great question. Down days are normal. It's completely human. Nobody's immune from this. Everybody has bad days. And so the first thing to keep in mind is that it's normal and natural, and it's not just you. The world isn't picking on you, and everyone has them. My favorite movie of all time is Gone with the Wind. Because I imagine that, in another life, I could have been Scarlett O'Hara. She has this really great line where she says, "After all, tomorrow is another day." I love that line so much because when I have a bad day and I think the world is ending, I remind myself, tomorrow is another day. Keep pushing forward, keep your head down, and continue to try harder the next day. Disappointments, hardship, heartbreak, they're all stepping stones that are there to teach us lessons and make us more prepared and determined to reach our goals or find happiness. And so don't let these road bumps become roadblocks in your life. Find out what the lesson is that you need to learn from them. Take that lesson, apply it to your life, and then move forward again. Thank you so much for submitting that question. Our next question comes from Ashley, who is a super cute girl that I run into sometimes in my local arena. She asked if I am sponsored. Big breaking news, everyone. I am sponsored by Writing Warehouse. It's a really fun new collaboration that we're working on together. They have just about anything you can think of for the English or Western writer. I'll put the link in the description below, and I encourage you guys to go check it out. Let's see. My Equine Journey from Snapchat asked me, how did you get involved in rodeo queening? What advice would you give someone who's interested in becoming a rodeo queen but has a little background in rodeo? So I first met Miss Rodeo America, who was Miss Rodeo Utah at the time, Mary Shaw, the first summer after my family bought horses. I was 9 years old. And she was the most incredible thing I had ever seen. And I determined right then and there that I was going to be a rodeo queen. I was so honored to, several years later, win the title of Miss Rodeo Utah and then placed in the top 5 at Miss Rodeo America. Keep in mind, though, my family is not a ranching or rodeo family at all. I grew up in a subdivision with train tracks in my backyard. Just blue-collar parents. So don't feel like you need to have all this wealth of experience and knowledge. To be honest with you, the best advice I could give someone who wants to be a rodeo queen is to be authentic and be genuine. The days of kind of the costumey rodeo queen and sort of facade are over. They don't want that anymore. They really want just an all-American girl who is well-rounded and well-spoken. I did a lot of public speaking all through junior high and high school. Through 4-H, FFA, if you can do debate, I really encourage that. Do things that make you think critically and explore the world around you, not just the Western world. If I hear someone say in their interviews to promote the Western lifestyle, and that's just not reality anymore. We live in a global environment, and so we need to think that way as well about promoting our sport and our lifestyles. So think critically, exploring the world around you, and anything you can do to be in front of an audience and be comfortable in that setting are things that I would encourage you to do if you're pursuing a rodeo queen dream. Okay, Cowgirl Up 802 asked if you could give a young, super determined, hardworking girl a paragraph of advice on how to be as successful as she could be in life, what would it be? I would say, don't lower your standards for yourself or for anyone else. Don't ever think that your dreams are too big, that you can't accomplish them, because you can. And don't lower your standards for those around you either. Expect high things from those people around you. Expect them to succeed. Expect them to treat you with respect. And then know that success comes with repeated setbacks and hardships, like we already talked about. That winning isn't easy. It shouldn't be, or we wouldn't appreciate it. So accept and learn from your road bumps and don't let them become roadblocks. All right. Mallory Stippich? Please don't be mad if I screw up your name. I'm so sorry. Asked, what is your schooling history and did you keep your horses throughout your experience? I got my undergrad from Utah State University. It's just about 2 hours away from my family and my horses, so I was able to go home on weekends, or if I finished class early that day, I would make the drive to go ride my horses. So that worked out pretty well for me. And then I took about 2 years off of school to work in politics. And then I did an online MBA program with Texas A&M Commerce to get my MBA. And that was the best educational decision I think I ever made. I love the online education experience. It just fit my lifestyle. It fit the way that I like to learn. I could do it at my own speed, more or less, and at times that were convenient for me. So that way I could continue working and making an income, as well as pursuing some of my horse training goals as well at that time. So all throughout junior high, high school, undergrad, and graduate degree, I was able to continue riding the whole time. So I'm so grateful for that experience and opportunity. I got a lot of questions this week about my daily schedule and about managing time. Let's see, Sammy and S. Richie both can ask the same question. What does your average daily schedule look like? Struggling to fit in workouts, full work day, training my horses, managing a household. How do you manage to get everything done in a day? Number one, you're missing out if you do not get my e-course on time management. You can find it on my website, reneekelly.com. I give a lot of really detailed explanations of how I'm able to manage my time well, and a lot of kind of tips and tricks for doing that as well. But I'm going to give you a really short summation and kind of some highlights. Number one is know what your goals are. When you know what your goals are, you can prioritize and know what things are important and need to be done today and need the most time and attention, and what things that you can just be good enough at. Scheduling is so critical for me. I'm a little bit of a scheduling fanatic. Everything goes in my calendar, including riding times. I have to put it in the calendar. If I don't do it, it doesn't happen. Early mornings, late nights. We all have 24 hours. Sometimes we don't get a solid 8 hours of sleep every night, but then it's prioritizing what's more important, a full 8 hours or being able to leg up Striker for our upcoming race. My daily schedule is always in flux because my job is just really dynamic and it's kind of different every single day, but generally it looks like this. If I'm at the ranch, I get up at about 5 or 5:30 in the mornings to go ride. I figured out that if people can go to the gym that early in the morning, I sure as heck can go ride a horse that early in the morning. So after I ride, then I drive about 40 minutes to my office. The whole time I listen to podcasts. I like a lot of business podcasts, motivational podcasts sometimes. I get into the office about 9:30 or 10. Leave the office about 5:30. If I can, I ride again that night. And then after dark is when I answer emails, work on my website, schedule social media stuff. I read a lot. I really love, I love a lot of like American history books, but in addition to that, I read training materials like Barrel Horse News, things like that, American Quarter Horse magazines. And then I watch training DVDs. I have a few that I really love. And then weekends, I really dedicate weekends to riding horses a little bit, but catching up on chores. I kind of just block out like 6 hours and just knock out as many chores as I can. I am obsessively passionate about my goals. I try and cut out time sucks as much as possible. I don't have time to waste on things that are not getting me one step closer to my goals. No matter if it's a tiny little thing, if it's pushing me closer to the things that I want, then I do it. And I try and do that litmus test with every activity. Is this bringing me closer to my goals? Is this providing me income with my job? And if it doesn't, and the answer is no, I don't do those things. I would also add in, or does it bring me joy and happiness? Spending time with my family, being with my friends, those types of things bring me joy and happiness. But it's just a matter of balance. I have to balance that joy and pleasure with pursuing goals and creating income. Thanks for that question, girls. Or guys, I'm really not sure, to be honest with you. Okay, Michaela Rourke asked, how often do you ride Striker? What do you do to prep in between races? So in the summer, I've kind of already gone over my schedule. In the summer, I can ride close to 7 times a week. That doesn't mean I ride 7 days a week. That means 7 times a week. That could mean I ride in the morning and then again at night. I don't have a problem with riding a horse twice in one day. I do have 4 horses, though, that I'm trying to keep in shape. So normally I'll ride 2 in the morning and then 2 at night. So it kind of averages out to, I might ride Striker 3 or 4 times a week. But flexing drills is key to our conditioning regimen. Anytime I'm on him, I have already planned out kind of what our training regimen will be that day, and it almost always centers around flexation, suppleness, softness. Okay, Haley wants to know, do I have an arena at my house or do you ride at someone else's? I do not have an arena. Oh my gosh, that'd be a dream come true if I had my own arena. Especially living in Utah where winters are a little rough, an indoor arena would be a godsend. But I am super fortunate to live about 5 miles away from 2 different city arenas. So I'll just go ride at a public arena. It's great because they maintain it for me. They drag it, they water it, all those things. It's fantastic. The downside is they are both outdoor arenas, so winter riding can be challenging, as well as during inclement weather. And I also have to share it with 4-H riding clubs, adult riding clubs, rodeos, other little horse shows that go on there. So that makes it really tough. Again, I found out that early mornings work best. Those 4-H clubs and different things, they practice in the afternoons and evenings. So if I can get up really early, I'm the only one there. It's like my own private arena that someone else maintains. So I'm really fortunate for that. Even in the winter, I'll try to ride those arenas as much as I can, unless they're flooded or the ground's really frozen and hard. Otherwise, I will rent arenas, indoor arenas, with a group of friends. It gets really expensive, though, so I always have to do it with a group of friends. Okay. Oh my gosh, one of my old rodeo queening friends submitted a question. What is my favorite vegetarian meals? I love roasted Brussels sprouts. Oh my gosh, they're my favorite thing ever. Roasted Brussels sprouts with a little balsamic glaze is like heaven in your mouth. They're so good. I know it sounds like an old man thing to like Brussels sprouts, but they're delicious and I don't even care. Okay, Candy Rochelle asked, how is Striker bred? Well, he is a dash for cash. He is a racehorse bred. He did come off the racetrack. His top line is Striking Distance, who is a dash for cash. And then his bottom is Street Lawyer. They're both just race horses here in Utah. The funny thing is that I joke, is Striker is a very political animal. I work in politics. His sire is owned by a state representative's dad, and his dam is owned by a state senator. And I didn't know any of that until I bought him and then started looking at, where his lineage was currently standing. So I thought that was pretty funny. Okay, Kendall Faulkner wants to know, how do you use social media to expose your business to people? Oh, that's a great question. I would say authentic interaction is key. People know when you're trying to be too salesy or not very authentic, so be as real as possible. Create that unique voice and brand for yourself and your company, and really hone that in and own it. Follow big accounts. Comment on people who you think might be followers, would be good followers that kind of fit into your brand's culture. Like their stuff. Contests, giveaways are really fun. Ask people for input. Just ask them to comment with something very specific. People like very specific actions like that. So I would say interaction, but as long as it's authentic interaction is key. And just be creative. Educational content also is the best. If people can learn something, just a small thing about your product or about the industry or about a how-to, that's the kind of information that people really glom onto and are going to want to keep coming back to your accounts and to your business for that type of information. And then that converts to sales. All right, guys, thank you so much for your questions this week. I had a blast putting this together for you. Be sure to subscribe below, this button right here. And so you can get next week's episode of Wide Open Wednesday. Thanks so much, Insta lovers, Snap fam. I need to come up with something for my YouTube friends. So if you have an idea of what I should call my YouTube friends, put it in the comments below. Thanks so much, guys.